Okay, city council meeting. Today is June 4th, 7:30 p.m. Okay, Madam President, we are live on YouTube.
Ken, I'm going to mute myself.
Okay.
Can't hear Jamie.
No.
Yeah, she's on mute.
How about that? Angie and Chris Leibold and Jim Sleek are on mute. They need to, Angie, are you there?
Yeah.
Chris is there. Jim Sleek, you need to unmute. Okay.
There I am. Thanks.
John Elder, unmute.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, are we ready?
Yep.
We'll call this meeting to order and we'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and
and justice for all. Roll call.
Weiss,
Here.
Sleek,
Yes.
Smith,
Here.
Addy,
Here.
Elder,
Here.
Reese,
Here.
Leibold.
Here.
Okay, council has a copy of the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? No?
Nope.
Then they'll stand as they are. Council also has a copy of the agenda for this evening. Are there any additions or to the agenda? No? Okay, for tonight's meeting, we will have the readings of the ordinances and the resolutions. If council has a question, I would ask you to raise your hand. I will see it on the screen and I will call on you. I will also give the public the opportunity to speak if they have a comment or a question about the ordinance or resolution that was read. After the agenda, we will have a few people be speaking, but there will be no committee reports or reports from department heads. So with that said, if you want to get started, Stevie, with the first reading.
Third reading of an ordinance to vacate the portion of High Street between Krogan and Garrison Street and the alley between parcels number 238, 4203, 255, 240, 241, 253, and 252 in the city of Fremont, state of Ohio.
Move to adopt.
For adoption. Second.
I think Chris Leibold moved to adopt and John Elder second. Is there any discussion on this from the council? Any discussion from the public?
Madam President, I see no questions or concerns from the public on the YouTube channel.
Okay. Roll call?
Sleek,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Elder,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Liebald,
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Approved. Next reading?
First reading of an ordinance to authorize the expenditure and direct the Safety Service Director to enter into a contract with Gittes Paving and Excavating for an amount not to exceed $150,802.75 for services to the North Coast Inland Trail extensions in Fremont, State of Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Madam President, may I speak on this?
Sure.
Okay, so what this is the extension of the North Coast Inland Bike Trail, basically from Hayes Avenue all the way to the downtown area. Project is about 10-foot wide asphalt trail. They'll go from Hayes, down Hayes to Avis and along Avis to Burchard and up Burchard to Front. Trail from this connection will be on Hayes to Burchard and be separated from the road. This will also include some of the traffic signals like we recently installed on Graham Drive, pedestrian traffic signals on Hayes Avenue, which are included in this project. Where basically you hit a button and you get a strobe signal alerting motorists that a bicycle or a pedestrian is going to pass. And that's important. I'll explain that in a second. The engineer's construction estimate on this was $150,700 and some change, and the contractor's bid came in just about that. And the construction costs on this are paid 100% by ODOT, just so you know. So our investment in this will be minimal. It'll be engineering costs and stuff like that, which we've already completed. The anticipated construction start date would be approximately August, but that's going to obviously be determined by the contractor once they're under contract. And which would lead, if they can start August, they could get it done by November. I would ask for a Rule 4 suspension on this for the simple fact that Gittes Paving is ready to go with this project, and the fact that the strobe pedestrian crossing signals take a long time to get in. So the quicker we can get them ordered, the quicker we can get them in and get them moving on this project. So hopefully if this project, if everything goes well with this project, then ODOT will pay 100% of the construction cost.
Move to suspend Rule 4.
Does anybody have, well, Jim Sleek moved to suspend Rule 4. Did Angie second?
Yes.
Angie second, Angie Reese seconds. Are there any questions on the suspension of Rule 4? Roll call?
Smith,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Elder,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Liebald,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Sleek.
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Second.
Jim Elder moves to adopt, or John Elder, I'm sorry. And I didn't hear who seconded.
I did, Christine.
Christine?
Yeah.
Seconds. Are there any questions?
Ken, could you run that by me again, where the extension is going to be?
He didn't mute already, did he?
He's muted.
I apologize. I actually have it on a map here, which I can give to you too if you ever want to see it, but I'll explain. Basically, Hayes, where the flood wall, where the bike trail is in a flood wall.
Okay.
Is that right? So it's going to come down Avis back by Swartzlander Park, right? And then up and around the curve and then into the downtown area, connecting to the existing bike trail that we have downtown, bike path that we have downtown.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question.
Hold on, Chris Leibold has a question.
Thank you, Madam President. Ken, you said it was going to be separated from the road, I think. What kind of separation is it supposed to be?
It's going to be similar to what's downtown. We couldn't make an individualized path on the actual Swartzlander Park because we had some difficulties getting permits from the railroad.
Okay.
So we
Is-
moved it basically the street expanded on the street.
But no barricade or anything?
No barricade, no.
Okay, all right.
But you're saying 10 foot wide, Ken?
Yeah.
This is Jim. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it was $150,850. Is that the price?
802.
802.
Yeah, 802.
Gotcha.
Okay, my question is,
Angie?
Mr. Frost, has this company done work before? You know, have they done other work related to this project?
All of our contractors, when they go through the bidding process, they go through a vetting process, so all the references are checked. I can tell you that Geddes Paving has done work for me when I was a village administrator in Walbridge. And I have absolutely no problems with any of the work that they've ever done. They've always been a very professional company. So I can vouch for them personally from the work that they've done for me when I was at another jurisdiction. So, but to answer your question, anytime that we have a bid opening, we do the bid opening and we look at the bids, the price on the bids, and then it's the engineer's responsibility to go back and check references and make sure that the company that's coming here to do work in the city is properly vetted so that, you know, that they can actually do the type of work that they're claiming that they can do. So I'm very confident that our engineers do their job on that.
I'm confident in that also, but I was just wondering if, because the name didn't ring a bell to me. You know,
Right.
the other times when we have companies doing work, it's usually, you know, the same company again, but I've never heard of this one before, but I'm sure that they'll work out.
Sure.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Because I do walk in that area quite often, and with a lot of pedestrian traffic, and currently right now with fishing, could you explain a little more thoroughly for the public what the bike trail, is it going to be on the sidewalk? Is it going to be in the road?
No. Okay. So, I wish I could put this up here on the screen for you. So the actual bike path will be on the east side of Avis. So it'll be like, it's almost like you widen the road out another 10 feet and then you have that lane that's just for pedestrian traffic in that area.
So the curb will be backed up 10 feet?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I just wanted clarification.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Denny?
Yeah, not to, kind of what Holly asked about. So that's going to come across or start at the westbound side of the Miles Newton Bridge, correct? And then
Yes.
around into Burchard.
Yes.
Where does it go from there once it hits Bidwell?
Once it hits Bidwell, it'll actually go around and down and connect to the bike trail that's on Front Street currently. The bike path.
So go straight down to
Yeah.
Front and then turn right?
Mhm.
And at that point, it's just painted lines on the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt again, Mr. Frost, but one more question. So that's coming off the flood wall
Yes.
across like Front Street by the railroad with a curb, with the curb divider in between the lanes?
No, there's no curb divider in between the lanes. It'd be just like what's on Front Street, but it'll actually go up Avis.
Okay.
Avis is the road in front of Swartzlander Park, the other side, the east side of Janelle Terrace.
So this is not connected from the south side of the flood wall across Front Street, or excuse me, Hayes Avenue.
Yes, it does. It'll all be connected to the trail up there.
Okay, because there's that curb divider by the railroad. So is it how the railroad runs right there by the flood wall? How is the connection between the flood wall and Avis Park going to be?
It'll actually be connected. You won't be crossing, like, it'll come off of the existing bike trail on top of the flood wall and then like come down and across Hayes. And then when you cross Hayes, it'll come around where Swartzlander Park is.
Right. And I'm only asking because there are a lot of pedestrians there that
Sure.
walk. And it is a tenuous crossing there. No, because I do walk there a lot, and there are lots of people there in the morning, and I just feel it's a safety issue. That's the only reason why I'm asking. So thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna try. I mean, obviously, safety is a foremost on most of these, or on all of our projects, all of our city projects. And I mean, it's a good thing that we're getting the strobe type pedestrian crossing to warn motorists when people are actually going across there. It seems to be working really good on
Great.
Grand Drive. So I'm confident that it'll be a good project, and it'll be safe as long as everybody pays attention. It's kind of hard to miss those strobes, so.
Thank you.
Well, I have another question then. So it's going to kind of run fairly close to the railroad tracks, correct?
No, it won't be. Well, it depends on what part you're talking about. No, on Ava Street, it won't be.
Well, I was just wondering, those strobes, will they be like on Burchard and, as we would call Hayes and Burchard, as it comes across?
Yeah,
I'm wondering if it would be a
Hayes and Burchard don't.
traffic
not
if
Hayes
it's
and Burchard.
rain coming.
No, it's for the crosswalk. I can't see it. The crosswalk is where the strobes are going, is actually on Hayes Avenue. So when people are crossing Hayes Avenue, so obviously that's a major thoroughfare. So that's where that's going.
Gotcha.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, then, is there any comments or questions from the public? Hi, Christine.
Hey.
She's here.
I've been here.
Like your background.
Thank you.
Don't let the wave runner splash you. They'll do it every
I know.
time.
I'll get you.
Madam President,
Mhm.
I do have one comment from the public. It's from Catherine Taylor, and she writes, is it possible to put that map up on your Facebook page so the public can see where you're putting the bike trail extension? And as a safety service director, my answer to that would be yes, it most certainly is. Other than that, I see no other questions or comments.
Okay. Roll call.
Addie,
Yes.
Elder,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Sleek,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Approved. Okay, next reading.
First reading of an ordinance authorizing hazard pay to all certified Fremont firefighters beginning March 24th and declaring an emergency.
Anybody have a comment on this?
I have a question, Madam President, if I may. If we go back and we're paying similar to what we did with the police department, when will we end the hazard pay? As most people would think the pandemic's starting to come to an end. How much longer will we pay the hazard pay? Do you know, Mr. Frost?
Oh, that's a great question, and it's obviously up for discussion. I mean, we've had several talks about it. We haven't come up with a definitive answer on that, but I can tell you things are winding down. We want to make sure that we're doing the best for our safety forces and providing them with some additional time off when this whole thing ends. So it could be very shortly here. Obviously, I want to discuss that more with some more of the administration before we decide to end that benefit for them.
Yeah, I don't think the pandemic is anywhere close to being over. I think it's in a lull right now. But if, you watch the national news, ever since this stuff has opened back up, things are opening back up, we're getting waves of more corona. So it may be a while.
Yeah, and I do have a comment too. I did talk to the chief today, Chief Foose, only because, it was brought up about hazard pay. And at first I was a little taken back because, with our budget, probably with the cities getting a little tight. And, I had some people, I just queued some public people and they're thinking, oh my gosh, I work in a situation, but I don't get hazard pay, or can we afford it, or so on and so forth. And one thing that he kind of made clear to me, this is going to be in the form of comp time. So it's not actually, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Frost, but it's going to be comp time, and he's going to monitor it, I guess, with you folks as far as when they can use it, or not to cause any overtime if there's a shortage. So, he did say we could go a second reading or so, but, I guess with that, I was kind of convinced, comp time, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I can answer that for you, Mr. Audi. Yes, it is set up in a form of comp time, and the time is not allowed to be used if it creates a condition of overtime, which is kind of why you're getting fires a little bit late, because they didn't have any of that in their union contract, so we kind of had to develop something. And it's just a way for the administration, myself, to give our safety forces they're very stressed right now, a little bit of, when this whole thing kind of winds down, give them a little bit of extra time off with their family, with still maintaining the minimum manpower at work. Also, in these rules, the comp time can be canceled at any time. So if there's an emergency or something, then certainly they're going to report back to work. But as far as the financial end of it, there's no additional costs to the city at all. It's just allowing our safety forces to spend a little bit more time with their family when this is over. And I think that's only fair.
And he did mention to me too that one of the comments was that somebody told me, I said, well, a pumper does go out a lot of times with EMS. And he says, yeah, and in situations like that, they're helping out too. So that could add them more, shall I say, hazard or more problems with it also. So no, I think it's a pretty good idea. First,
Well, I move to suspend Rule 4 then.
second it.
John Elder moves to suspend Rule 4, and I didn't hear who's seconded it. Was it Justin?
I did say second, yes.
I did it too, Justin. But you can have it.
Justin Smith, second. Are there any questions about the suspension of Rule 4? Roll call?
Elder,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Leibold,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Fleek,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes,
Addie.
Yes.
move to adopt.
Second.
Whoop.
Okay, Justin Smith moves to adopt.
Give it to Christine.
Christine Weiss seconds. Are there any comments from council or
Yeah, Madam
questions?
President.
Yes, okay.
Just to the earlier question about when does it end, I think a bunch of stuff at the state level has been tied to the ending of the state of emergency declaration, which I think we're still under. And I would think that would be an appropriate time unless something happens locally that's worse than at the state level. And that's really my only comment. I just think that would make sense because so many other things are tied to the ending of the declaration of emergency.
Right.
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd like to also add that in the ordinance it does say, whereas, I got lost here. Okay, it's in the 1, 2, 3, on the fourth whereas, the very last part of that sentence, it says, an ending when the pandemic has been contained or is determined by the Safety Service Director. So maybe the state might say it's over with, the Safety Service Director might just say, because of our area, there might be some irregularity, that maybe our area is different, that we're not going through the same thing that the rest of the country or the state is. So it's all dependent on the Safety Service Director, Ken Frost, and I'm sure Mr. Frost is very capable of making these decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Are there
Madam
any
President.
Yes.
Mayor Sanchez here. I agree with both Councilwoman Reese and Councilman Leibold. Ken Frost and I've had conversations about this, and we feel confident that when the state makes the decision to make the changes that they need, and we're out of this official, when they officially release it from the governor's office is when at this time, that's when we plan on making that decision.
Okay.
I'd like to add also, I'd like to note that on the 5th, whereas regarding the emergency pay or the hazard time for the firefighters, it is also set in place by the Safety Service Director during the aforementioned period. So it will be up to the discretion of the Safety Director when we stop paying the hazard time. I just like to point that out. That's all. I have no objection to it. Just like to make sure about this.
Okay. Okay, Ken, are there any comments or questions from the public?
Madam President, I see no questions or comments from the public.
Okay. Roll call?
Reese,
Yes.
Leibold,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Sleek,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Elder.
Yes.
Approved. Okay, that's the end of our readings, and we have a few people that are going to speak tonight. I'm going to start out with Stevie Martin.
Thank you, Madam President, for allowing me a little of the council's time. I just wanted to take the time to publicly say thank you to all those who came and participated in the protest yesterday. I saw many of our council members and elected officials joining with others in the community. Fremont peacefully showed the world that they care about my people. For the cities where the protests turned violent, we showed them how it could truly be done. And please don't think that I encourage the violence. I just understand the anger behind it. Tuesday, I was angry, but yesterday that anger was peeled back by all the love and support that was shown. I want to give a special thank you to the organization People for Peace and Justice, Sandusky County, who organized the anti-racism vigil, Justice for George Floyd, to our police chief, Dean Bliss, you know I love you, and his staff. Excellent job from our guys and gals in blue, Chief Dave Foose and his staff, and Mayor Sanchez for giving the green light for this to happen in the city. People, racism is real and it's alive and out there. And if you want to know what you can do to help, just be kind to one another. It's that simple. Treat others how you want to be treated. Then the world that we live in will be a better place. Thank you. That's all I have to
Amen,
say.
Stevie.
Thank you.
You're so right, Stevie.
And Stevie,
you.
can I also add too, I believe Sheriff Hilton and his deputies were down there too, so they were all part of it. I always seen them.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'd like to hear from Christy Bilger from downtown Fremont.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
President Hafford for inviting me here tonight. So Jamie, President Hafford asked me to come here to give all of you some updates on the upcoming farmers market on June 20th. And that is going to be from 9 to 1 p.m. And if I may, I've already shared this document with President Hafford. I'm also going to email it to the city council members. We've shared this on Facebook yesterday, and I am working right now on adding a COVID-19 button on downtownfremontohio.org with all these guidelines as well. So all of you, if you haven't known, farmers markets are allowed to proceed. We had started to hear wind of that in late February, early March, that was going to be considered an essential. And so myself, Susan, and I know Bob Gross, the mayor, and Ken, we've been, collecting information. We've been going to webinars and so forth. So with all of that information, when I started getting information from the Department of Agriculture, we came up with these guidelines. And if you saw this on Facebook, please excuse me repeating it, but we came up with guidelines from Governor DeWine, as well as the Department of Agriculture and our Sandusky County Health Department. So the event will move forward, the farmers market will, and we came up for specific guidelines for vendors, customers, and then of course the responsibility of downtown Fremont. So if I may, President Hafford, I'd like to read through those.
Yeah, that would be great.
And then I will email this all to you. It has been posted on Facebook, and again, we'll add that on the website as well. So we broke it up. The first one was for the vendors. So to let all of you know, the vendors will set up tents and tables at a minimum of 6 feet apart. In many spots, they'll be more than that. Use of cotton tablecloths are not permitted. The reason for this is plastic tablecloths will be used in place that constantly be cleaned and sanitized. Masks are required for the vendors. Before we sign off on anybody's registration, they are made aware of that. This is a big thing. Ready to eat foods must be prepared and prepackaged prior to the market. So that would be somebody bringing jams, breads, something like that. We encourage vendors to sanitize their space and clean hands after every money transaction. This has not been a problem at all with our vendors. They want to do that and are going to. The market welcomes vendors to take pre-orders so that the market will do any free marketing or advertising for that. Again, someone calls and says, I need, 12 ears of corn, some strawberries and so forth at Reams or Drowns or TJ's. They do that, they pick it up and they go. That again, encourage this to be a take and go type of situation. They are going to need, again, on the vendors to create a barrier with tables on 3 sides of the tent. No customers walking into the tents. Vendors will handle all merchandise. No sampling of any food is permitted, and cooked food on site must be in to-go containers. No open condiments are put out for customers. It needs to be vendor applied because again, they're wearing the mask, the gloves, have the distance. That will be applied at the customer's request or be prepackaged for you to take and go. Now for the customers or for the public, they are encouraged for someone else to come to the market or shop for them if they do not feel healthy or comfortable. Chalk will be used to demonstrate suggested physical distancing amongst customers. Again, that reinforcement, you're going to see that a lot at the markets. We get to see someone we want to talk to, and you'll have those cues to remind you. Customers will not be required to wear masks or gloves, but it is encouraged. Sanitation stations will be located all throughout the market and to clean hands frequently. Customers will be able to enter and exit at their convenience. Customers will be not allowed to touch items displayed on vendor tables. And we have said the adage of look with your eyes, not with your hands. We will allow the vendor to handle any purchases until the transaction is complete. A suggested traffic flow of going to your right when you enter the market at any location to kind of keep that flow going. And again, the big one, maintain the 6-foot distances and lines for vendors, concessions, and restrooms. Fremont Inc. is doing, we are going to require vendors to set up again at least 6 feet apart. We will be making markations on the street for that.
Oh, no.
We will provide hand sanitations again throughout the market to encourage the frequent cleaning and sanitation of hands. The suggested traffic flow, again, to go the same throughout the market, going to the right wherever you enter. Promote the pre-sale of vendors, and vendors and volunteers will wear masks. We'll provide signage throughout the market and to the vendors. An example of this may something that we're going to give to the farmers at every market that says, ask the vendor to get this for you. Look with your hand, you look with your eyes, not your hands. We're going to chalk the 6 lines throughout the market for social distancing. And this I know is a fan favorite. It's a community favorite, but again, we can't do this at the moment. No shopping carts at this time because we cannot guarantee we can't guarantee the clean sanitation of it every time someone uses it. So no shopping carts at this time and no picnic tables for seating because it is a take and go event. So again, these things are compiled through Sandusky County Health Department, the Department of Agriculture, and also Governor DeWine, which he's set for farmers markets. So we've given these to vendors, and like I said, we'll share that quite a bit. So the market will look different. The market will look different. And we wanted to get this out after June 1st when we knew there wouldn't be any other guidelines added
Thank you.
for the 20th. So any other questions about this or downtown in general?
Anybody? No? Okay, well, thank you so much, Christy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll hear from Paul Grau.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to give council and the public a update on our revenues. We're through the month of May, and so I wanted to give a quick update. Income taxes for the city of Fremont through the month of May are overall down about 4% from where we were through May of 2019. That primarily is due to collections from our business net profit area being down about $180,000 compared to the same time last year. Collections from employee withholding is actually up slightly. We're up about $62,000 compared to where we were last year. So for me, it's entirely expected for the business net profit to tail off. We're going to have a number of businesses probably estimating losses or at a minimum less than early projected profits. So that number I knew would decrease for us, but it's encouraging to see that the withholdings are holding, and that means that it appears that a number of our, especially our major employers, manufacturing and the hospital and the county and the school district and everything, stayed employed through a majority of the pandemic because we were seeing the withholdings hold steady. The rec department, obviously revenues are down across the board with the closing of the rec center. We did, however, start this year very, very strong in a number of areas, and that's kind of offset. The strong start in January and February has offset slightly the decreases that we experienced in March, April, and May. So we're not as bad as where I thought we would be through this point. However, with the decision to keep the pool closed for the year, that's obviously going to impact revenues. It's also going to impact expenditures with less payroll and less operating and chemical costs related to the pool. So the administrative team and the rec department full-time employees will definitely stay on top of monitoring that. The street department revenues, gas taxes decreased slightly over the last couple months, and our license fees decreased a decent amount over the last couple months. The good thing with the license fees, that decreased because the BMVs were all closed. So when those, obviously they're open, but people are encouraged to not go unless they have to. So as those kind of open, that should be just a revenue deferment. We should kind of pick up the pace as we continue through summer, as long as there's no reverse in the trends that causes those to be closed back down. Water is down compared to 2019. However, we're ahead of where we expected to be in 2020 as of through May. So it's down a little bit compared to last year, but last year, I think with some of our businesses, especially using a lot of water, last year we kind of did exceptionally well on the water revenue side. The sewer is down compared to last year, and down compared to where we expected to be through May of 2020. That, as I said at our last update in the first part of May, after we closed April out, I believe is a combination of some of the unpaid bills due to residential people unable to make payments and stuff because of unemployment and that sort of thing, where they're struggling a little bit, as well as some of our large sewer charge customers not having as much waste to send us. So I think it's a combination of general operations being down regardless of COVID, and then a little bit of a COVID impact. So through May, it's a little clearer picture. And as we're sitting right now, I feel pretty comfortable that we're going to be able to weather the storm across the board with minimal damage. I think we'll see how the rest of the summer goes, but hopefully the worst is behind us, and we at least kind of trend to hold serve, and then maybe revenues pick up even a little bit as more and more open up, hopefully, throughout the community. So are there any questions related to the finances through May, just as a quick narrative without a detailed report for council?
Doesn't look like it.
Thank you,
Okay.
Paul.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Jim Sleek.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. On economic development, I just wanted to share a couple things Paul Grau, no, that was Paul Grau just now. Bob Gross and I talked about. Some of you may know that we do have Pet Supply Plus now, and it's out there on 53. The address is 2180 Shawn Drive, Suite 6A. They're in business 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can talk to the manager out there, Tanner Bowling. And of course, there's one in Sandusky. But what this Pet Supply offers is live animals here. And they were talking about reptiles, fish, guinea pigs, gerbils, all kind of animals, and they're going to get more. And there's 30% off right now on any live animals. And on Sunday, their hours change a little bit. It's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And there's no grand opening planned, but just wanted to share with everybody that, yes, we do now have a Pet Supply Plus in Fremont in Ward 2. The other thing I'd like to share, of course, if you get the paper or see, we do have a new Dollar General store going in at the corner of Prospect and East State, just down from the mayor, 9,000 square foot store. And they will offer some more grocery items that the other Dollar Generals have not offered. So just keep that in mind. Some more neat things happening in our city. That's all, Madam President.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Chris?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm just happy to share that I got an email from a constituent on Garrison Street, and she was just extremely happy with the state of the road now. And I just wanted to report that because it was a good email to receive. You know, normally I want something else, you know, but they were just happy with the work that's been done there.
Yeah, the road is quite nice. They did a wonderful job, and Roger walks to work every day, and he's so happy with the sidewalks. I just have to tell you all. They make his day.
Perfect.
Anybody else?
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay.
I received an email today about the census that's going on right now. Sandusky County, or Fremont, the city of Fremont is ranking like 68%, I think, or 28%. I don't remember. But anyhow, what I'd like to do is express to everybody that please, if you haven't done your report yet of reporting, you know, your census report, please do that. It's a lot to everybody to have you counted. Everybody has to be counted. That, and the only other thing is that I am grateful that the 3rd Ward is getting the General Dollar store. It won't be like a grocery store, but it will offer, like Mr. Sleek said, it will offer some things that are groceries that we won't have to be running somewhere else to get the little things. So with that said, that is all, and thank you.
Thank you. I would ask someone to make a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second,
Jim Sleek moves that we adjourn. John Elder seconds. Roll call.
Liebode,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Sleek,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Addie,
Yes.
Elder,
yes.
Reese.
Yes.
Adjourn.